Once upon a time, there was a scholar named Wu Yan, also known as King An. From a young age, he was renowned for his talents. The local historian Zhai had read his writings and praised them highly. Impressed by Wu Yan's literary abilities, Zhai asked an acquaintance to invite him for a conversation in order to observe his eloquence and literary skills. Zhai remarked, "Where can you find someone like Wu Yan, possessing such talent, yet still leading a life of poverty?" He even asked the neighbors to convey a message to Wu Yan, saying, "If he strives for progress, attains official success, I'll marry my daughter to him." Zhai had a daughter who was exceptionally beautiful. When this news reached Wu Yan's ears, he felt ecstatic and confident. However, he failed in his first attempt at the imperial examination. He asked someone to convey a message to Zhai, "Destined prosperity will come my way sooner or later. Please wait for me 3 years. If I'm unable to succeed within that time, your daughter can marry someone else." As a result, he intensified his efforts in studying. One night, under the bright moon, a scholar came to visit him. This man had a fair complexion, short hair, slender waist, and long fingers. Wu Yan politely asked him where he was from and what brought him there. The man replied, "I'm surnamed Bai, named Yuyu." They exchanged a few words, and Wu Yan sensed that this person had a broad mind. He appreciated him greatly and invited Bai to stay overnight. Bai didn't decline and slept until morning. Before leaving, he arranged for his belongings to be carried away and left a message for Wu Yan to visit again for further conversation. Bai also suggested that he could stay at Wu Yan's place. Wu Yan readily agreed, and they set a date for the move before parting ways. On the day of the move, an old man first brought cooking utensils and other supplies, followed by Bai's rival. Bai rode a white dragon horse, and Wu Yan welcomed him, instructing his family to prepare a room for him. Bai sent the person who had accompanied him to take the horse back. From then on, the two were together day and night, discussing various topics, and both benefited from the exchanges. Wu Yan noticed that Bai was reading unusual books, different from the common ones, and he didn't write the rigid style of 8-legged essays. Intrigued, he asked Bai about it. Bai responded, "Everyone has their own aspiration. I'm not seeking fame." At night, Bai often invited Wu Yan to his room for drinks and brought out a scroll of books on qi cultivation. Since Wu Yan couldn't understand them, he casually put them aside. A few days later, Bai told him, "The book I showed you that night contains essential techniques from the Yellow Court scripture, an introductory manual for achieving immortality." Wu Yan laughed and said, "I'm not interested in becoming immortal. To achieve immortality, one must sever emotional ties, have no distractions. That's something I can't do." Bai asked why, and Wu Yan replied that he wanted to continue his family line. Bai then asked, "Why haven't you married at such an age?" Wu Yan responded, "I am afflicted with a sickness, and I am obsessed with amorous pursuits." Bai quipped, "Kings should not indulge in base desires. What kind of person would you like to marry?" Wu Yan revealed his intention to marry Zhai's daughter. Bai was skeptical of her beauty. Wu Yan assured, "Her beauty is known far and wide, not just my own shallow opinion." Bai smiled and left it at that. The next day, Bai suddenly packed his belongings and told Wu Yan that he had to leave. They bid each other a reluctant farewell, and Wu Yan felt sorrowful and desolate at their parting. Bai instructed his attendant to carry his luggage and leave first while he continued to talk with Wu Yan. Suddenly, a green cicada landed on the table, and Bai bid Wu Yan farewell, saying, "The carriage has arrived. Farewell, remember me. Just sweep the bed where I slept, and lie down on it." Before Wu Yan could ask further questions, in an instant, Bai had shrunk to the size of a finger and mounted the cicada's back. With a chirping sound, they flew away, gradually disappearing into the colorful clouds. It was only then that Wu Yan realized Bai was no ordinary person. He remained astonished for a long time before returning to his room in a daze. After a few days, a light rain began to fall from the sky. Wu Yan missed Bai and went to the room where Bai stayed. He saw mouse paw prints all over Bai's bed, sighed, and brushed them away. He spread a mat and lay down to rest. Before long, Bai's attendant came to invite him. Wu Yan was overjoyed and followed the attendant. In an instant, a flock of birds appeared. The attendant caught one and said to Wu Yan, "The road is treacherous. You can ride this little bird and fly." Wu Yan hesitated, wondering if such a small bird could bear his weight. The attendant reassured him to try it out. Wu Yan cautiously mounted the bird and found it surprisingly spacious. The attendant rode behind him. With a creaking sound, they ascended into the sky. After a while, they reached a red gate. The bird landed, and the attendant dismounted first, helping Wu Yan down. Wu Yan asked, "Where is this?" The attendant replied, "This is Tianmen." On both sides of the gate, two giant tigers were crouching, which frightened Wu Yan. The attendant protected him and led him inside. Everywhere he looked, the scenery was unlike anything in the mortal world. The attendant led him to the palace of the Jade Lady, where crystal steps paved the way, giving the sensation of walking on a mirror. Two tall cassia trees, their branches towering to the sky, shaded the area, with fragrant blossoms wafting on the breeze. The houses and pavilions were adorned with red windows and doors, and beautiful women came and went, each exuding elegance and grace beyond compare. The attendant said, "The maidens of the Queen Mother's palace are even more beautiful." Not wanting Bai and others to wait long, the attendant had to leave promptly after guiding Wu Yan out of the palace of the Jade Lady. After a while, they saw Bai waiting for them at the entrance. When Bai saw Wu Yan, he hurried forward and shook his hand, leading him into the courtyard. Inside, under the eaves, clear water and white sand flowed, and jade railings were intricately carved. It resembled the Moon Palace. As soon as they entered the house and sat down, young women came forward with fragrant tea. Soon, a banquet was served, accompanied by four beautiful women adorned with gold and jade, who stood on either side. Wu Yan began to feel a slight itch on his back, and a woman extended a delicate hand with long nails to gently scratch him. Wu Yan's thoughts swayed, and he struggled to regain his composure. Before long, he started to feel tipsy, and gradually, he lost control of himself. He looked at the beautiful women with affection and spoke warmly to them, but they would giggle and avoid his gaze. Bai instructed the maidens to sing and accompany the drinking. One woman in a red veil presented a cup of wine while singing a melodious song. The other maidens joined in with musical instruments. When the performance concluded, a woman in green came forward to serve wine and sang while offering the cup. A woman in purple and another in white teased each other in whispers, and were hesitant to approach Wu Yan. Bai instructed each of them to sing and offer wine in turn. The woman in purple came to serve wine, and Wu Yan tried to grasp her wrist with his hand as he accepted the cup. She laughed and withdrew her hand, causing the cup to fall and shatter on the ground. Bai scolded her, and she picked up the cup with a smile, softly saying, "Cold as the touch of a ghostly hand, it dares to catch hold of a person's arm." Bai burst into laughter and ordered her to sing and dance by herself. After her performance, the woman in white came to serve a large cup of wine. Wu Yan declined, but she was displeased, so he reluctantly drank it. Looking at the four women with intoxicated eyes, Wu Yan found them all graceful and incomparably beautiful. Suddenly, he said to Bai, "Even finding a beautiful woman in the mortal world is difficult. Here, you have so many beautiful women. Can you make me truly happy?" Bai smiled and replied, "Don't you have someone in mind? Are none of these to your liking?" Ashamed, Wu Yan admitted, "I've realized today that my horizons are too limited." Bai then gathered all the beautiful women and allowed Wu Yan to choose. Unable to decide among them, Wu Yan hesitated. Bai instructed the woman in purple, who had shared an arm-grabbing experience with him, to accompany him. Wu Sheng dream immortal and the woman in purple slept together, indulging in joy and deep affection. Afterwards, Wu Sheng asked the woman for a keepsake, and she took off a golden bracelet and gave it to him. Suddenly, a boy arrived and said, "There's a distinction between immortal and mortal. Mr. Wu should return home immediately." The woman hurriedly got up and left. Wu Sheng asked the boy where Bai Sheng had gone. The boy replied, "He went to attend the court early in the morning. He instructed me to escort you." Wu Sheng, feeling dejected, followed the boy and retraced his steps. Upon reaching Townmen, he turned around and found that the boy had disappeared without a trace. The two tigers by the gate opened their mouths wide and lunged towards him. Wu Sheng ran in a panic, but he stumbled into a bottomless valley. He realized he was falling and woke up with a start, covered in cold sweat. It turned out to be a dream. The sun was already shining brightly. He picked up his clothes and noticed something on the bed. Upon closer inspection, it was the golden bracelet. Wu Sheng felt greatly perplexed. From then on, Wu Sheng lost his desire for fame, wealth, and pursuing beautiful women. He became disheartened and lost interest in the mortal world. His heart was set on seeking enlightenment in the mountains, meeting the Red Pine Master, and attaining immortality. However, he never forgot about carrying on his family line. A few months later, Wu Sheng was taking a nap during the day, when he dreamed of the woman in purple entering his room with a baby in her arms. She said to Wu Sheng, "This is your flesh and blood. The child can't stay in heaven, so I've brought him to return to you." After placing the baby on the bed and covering it with clothes, she left hurriedly. Wu Sheng grabbed her hand, asking her to stay another night. The woman in purple said, "We shared a bed for our honeymoon last time. This time, we share it for a farewell. The bond of 100 years ends here. If you have aspiration, perhaps we may meet again." Wu Sheng woke up to find the baby sleeping next to him on the bedding. He quickly carried the baby to his mother, who was overjoyed. Thus, a wet nurse was hired to care for the baby, and they named him Dream Immortal. With the birth of his child, Wu Sheng entrusted a message to be delivered to Chtai, saying that he wanted to live in seclusion and asked him to let his daughter remarry. Chtai was unwilling, but Wu Sheng persisted. Finally, Chtai told his daughter. She said, "It's widely known that I'm already engaged to Wu Sheng. Now you want me to marry someone else? Would I not be marrying two husbands?" Chtai relayed this conversation to Wu Sheng. Wu Sheng said, "Not only do I no longer pursue fame, but I've also severed my emotional ties with romantic relationships. The reason I haven't entered the mountains immediately is that I still have my elderly mother." Chtai conveyed this to his daughter. She replied, "Wu Lang is poor. I'm content to live with him in poverty, consuming coarse food. If Wu Lang wants to leave, I'll stay at home and serve my mother-in-law. I won't remarry." After numerous discussions, no suitable solution was found. Chtai eventually decided on a date and used carriages to send his daughter to Wu Sheng's home. Wu Sheng appreciated his wife's virtue and treated her with special respect. The woman served her mother-in-law dutifully, despite their humble circumstances. 2 years later, Wu Sheng's mother passed away. Ji's daughter sold her dowry, performed the burial rites for her mother-in-law, and fulfilled all the proper ceremonies. Wu Sheng told his wife, "Having a virtuous wife like you, what worries could I have? I've heard that through achieving enlightenment, one can ascend into the sky and transcend their mortal form. That's why I want to leave home, entrusting everything to you." Ji's daughter agreed without hesitation, not trying to persuade him otherwise. Thus, Wu Sheng bid farewell to his wife and departed. After Wu Sheng left, Ji's daughter managed their household affairs efficiently, raised their child, and maintained a well-ordered household. Dream Immortal gradually grew up, showing remarkable intelligence. At 14, he became a prodigy and passed the imperial examination, earning him the title of Sukaya Successful Candidate. At 15, he was appointed to the Hanlin Academy. During ceremonies, he was recognized for his achievements, but no one knew who his birth mother was. Only Ji's daughter received the recognition. Whenever there were sacrifices, Dream Immortal would inquire about his father's whereabouts. His stepmother truthfully told him. Dream Immortal contemplated the idea of resigning from his official position and searching for his father. His stepmother said, "Your father left over 10 years ago. He's likely already become an immortal. Where could you find him?" Later, when Dream Immortal was ordered to perform a sacrificial rite at Mount Nanyu, he encountered a group of bandits on the way. At a critical moment, a sword-wielding Taoist appeared and scared off the bandits, rescuing him from danger. Grateful, Dream Immortal offered the Taoist money, but he declined and handed him a letter to deliver, saying, "I have a friend from the same hometown as you. Please give him my regards." Dream Immortal asked, "What's your friend's name?" The reply was, "Wang Lin." After pondering, Dream Immortal realized there was no one named Wang Lin in the village. The Taoist explained, "He's a commoner. You might not recognize him." Before leaving, the Taoist took out a golden bracelet, saying, "This is an item from a lady's chamber. I found it and have no use for it. Please accept it as a token of gratitude for delivering the message." Dream Immortal examined the bracelet closely. Its craftsmanship and design were exquisite. He took it home and showed it to his wife. She treasured it and had skilled craftsmen try to replicate another one, but they couldn't match its quality. Dream Immortal asked villagers about Wang Lin, but couldn't find anyone with that name. Unable to locate him, he opened the letter and read, "3 years apart, like the phoenix and dragon. Burying the mother and educating the son, all relies on your virtue. Unable to repay your kindness, I offer you a pill. If you dissect and consume it, you can become an immortal." The letter also included Lady Lin's beauty regimen. After reading the entire letter, he still couldn't identify the sender. He took the letter to his stepmother and showed it to her. She burst into tears, saying, "This is your father's letter. Lin is my pen name." Realizing this, Dream Immortal regretted deeply. He also showed her the bracelet. His stepmother said, "This is your birth mother's possession. Your father used to take it out and show it to me." Looking at the pill, the size of a bean, Dream Immortal said excitedly, "My father was an immortal. Consuming this pill will surely grant eternal life." However, his mother didn't immediately consume it. She kept it hidden for the time being. When Tai came to visit his grandson, she read Wu Sheng's letter to him and presented the pill to him for longevity. Tai divided the pill in half and shared it with his daughter. Instantly, their spirits were revitalized. Despite being over 70 years old, Tai was suddenly full of vigor. He didn't need a carriage anymore. He walked swiftly, and his family had to hurry to keep up with him. Another year passed, and a massive fire broke out in the city. The flames raged for an entire day, leaving the city's inhabitants sleepless. Everyone in Dream Immortal's household was gathered in the courtyard, watching as the fire drew nearer. As the fire gradually approached, they felt helpless. Suddenly, the golden bracelet on Dream Immortal's wife's wrist made a clinking sound and slipped off her hand, flying into the sky. It expanded gradually, forming a circular shape as it covered the house. It faced the southeast, and everyone was astounded. In an instant, the fire changed direction from the west to the east when it reached the vicinity of the bracelet. When they believed the bracelet wouldn't return after the fire subsided, the red light abruptly receded, and the bracelet dropped at Dream Immortal's wife's feet. The city fire had destroyed tens of thousands of houses, leaving ashes in all directions except for Wu's residence, which remained unscathed. Only a small corner of the southeast wing was burned, the part not covered by the bracelet. When Ji's daughter was in her 50s, people who saw her thought she looked like she was in her 20s.
Alright, this story has come to an end. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you.